Welcome, dear economic masochists, to the brave new world of Protectionism 2.0. We are gathered here today to mourn the passing of a dear old friend known as common sense trade. In the dusty history books, tariffs were boring tools used by accountants to protect infant industries. But today, tariffs are an emotional support animal for insecure superpowers. We have entered the era of "I love you, now please pay me a 60% fee to look at my face."
Let us be honest. Protectionism 2.0 is not about economics. It is about attitude. It is the geopolitical equivalent of a high school drama where the popular kids decide to block each other on Instagram. But instead of digital silence, the punishment is that everyone in the school has to pay double for their lunch. We are living in a time where a trade policy is less about supply and demand and more about who woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Imagine, if you will, the global economy as a giant social network. In the past, if you didn't like a country's exports, you just didn't buy them. That was the scroll past function. But Protectionism 2.0 introduces the hate subscribe model. You don't want to see their products, but you are going to tax them so heavily that you are effectively paying a premium just to complain about them. It is a button that says, "I resent your existence, so I will make my own citizens pay more for your goods just to show you how angry I am."
This leads us to the concept of the emotional tariff. In a rational world, taxes are based on value. In our world, taxes are based on vibes. If the president of country A wakes up and stubs his toe on a nightstand made in country B, you can bet your life savings that the tariff on imported wood is going up by 10% before breakfast. We call this the grumpy morning surcharge. It is dynamic pricing, but for political pettiness.
Let's dive deeper into the strategy known as the Boomerang Club. The core philosophy of modern protectionism is simple. I am willing to burn down my own house if I can guarantee that the smoke will irritate my neighbor's eyes. It is a bold strategy. It takes courage to look at your own economy and say, you know what this needs? More inflation and fewer choices.
Consider the classic case of the steel versus soda debacle. A government decides to slap a massive tariff on imported steel to save the jobs of 100 brave steelworkers. This sounds noble. We love the steelworkers. They look great in hard hats. But then, the law of unintended consequences kicks in like a mule in a library. Suddenly, the price of aluminum and steel cans skyrockets. Because the cans are now made of Freedom steel, which costs 3 times as much, the local soda companies can no longer afford to package their fizzy sugar water. They start laying off workers. So, to save 100 jobs in the smelter, we have successfully fired 10,000 people who drive soda trucks, stock vending machines, and design colorful labels. This is what we call an economic hat trick. We didn't just shoot ourselves in the foot. We reloaded the gun and aimed for the other foot, all while claiming we are walking taller than ever.
But wait, the comedy deepens with the game of hide and seek. In this global playground, goods have learned that the only way to survive is to have an identity crisis. This brings us to the certificate of origin shuffling. A product today needs a passport more complicated than a super spy. Let's take a tablet computer manufactured in a country that is currently on the naughty list. You cannot just ship it. That would be too easy. So the tablet takes a vacation. It travels to country B to get a new plastic bezel. Then it flies to country C to get put in a cardboard box. Finally, it arrives in your country labeled as a product of international friendship, despite the fact that 99% of its DNA is from the forbidden land. This microchip has traveled more miles than a travel vlogger chasing sponsorships. It has seen more airports than a pilot. And who pays for this world tour? You do, the consumer. You are funding the gap year of a piece of silicon just so a bureaucrat can pretend that the supply chain is pure. It is theater. It is a masquerade ball where the masks are made of tariff codes and the entry fee is your disposable income. Now, let us visit the Geopolitical Restaurant. In a Protectionist 2.0 world, reading a menu is like deciphering a ransom note. You sit down, craving a nice, juicy steak. The menu price says $20. But then the waiter, who looks suspiciously like a tax auditor, hands you the supplementary bill. "Sir," he says, "the steak is $20. However, there is a $40 surcharge because of the grazing land dispute of 2024. Also, there is a $15 retaliation fee because the other country stopped buying our sparkling wine. And finally, a $5 patriotism tax because we are currently mad at cows in general." Your $20 dinner is now $80. The waiter leans in and whispers, "If you want to save money, I suggest the boiled weeds from the cracks in the sidewalk out back. They are the only item not currently under a trade embargo." This is the reality of the dinner table war zone. We are literally eating our own pride, and it tastes expensive. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the glorious absurdity of extreme self-sufficiency. This is the final boss of Protectionism 2.0. The idea is that relying on foreigners for anything is a sign of weakness. If we import toothpicks, we are vulnerable. We must produce our own toothpicks from domestic timber. Let us imagine a country located entirely within the Arctic Circle. In a sane world, this country would import bananas. But no, that would be surrendering to the tropical agenda. So the government announces the Great Northern Greenhouse Project. They build massive glass domes heated by nuclear reactors to grow bananas in the snow. The cost of energy to grow a single banana is roughly $400. The labor cost is another $50. By the time that banana hits the shelf, it costs $500. It is small, it is green, and it tastes like a raw potato that has been stored in a locker room. But the government slaps a sticker on it that says the fruit of freedom. Citizens are encouraged to buy these bananas to show their loyalty. Eating a delicious, yellow, $1 imported banana is an act of treason. Choking down a fibrous $500 Arctic banana is an act of patriotism. You are not just eating fruit, you are consuming sovereignty. It might give you indigestion, but at least you know your money stayed within the borders, mostly to pay for the nuclear heating bill. This obsession with self-reliance extends to technology as well. Why use a universally compatible charging cable when we can mandate a national cable that only works on Tuesdays and is shaped like a hexagon? It is the not invented here syndrome on steroids. We would rather reinvent the wheel as a square than admit that someone else made a pretty good circle. So, where does this leave us? We are standing in the wreckage of global efficiency, holding a hammer in one hand and a shattered piggy bank in the other. We have successfully protected ourselves from low prices, high quality, and variety. We have built walls so high that we can no longer see the delivery trucks bringing us the things we actually want. We have replaced the invisible hand of the market with the iron fist of the bureaucrat. And the iron fist is terrible at juggling economics. It keeps dropping the ball and then blaming the floor for being foreign-made. In conclusion, if we really want to fix this, I propose a new kind of tariff. Instead of taxing steel or soybeans or microchips, let us tax press releases. Every time a trade minister announces a new restriction, they must pay a fine into a fund that buys everyone a consolation pizza. Because if we are going to suffer through the stupidity of Protectionism 2.0, at least we should get a free slice of pepperoni out of it. Until then, enjoy your $500 banana. It tastes like victory and despair.